What could be worse than losing your child to death? I'll tell you what it is. It's losing your child to parental alienation. It's like mourning the loss of a child that's still alive. But yet 15% of divorces that involve children experience parental alienation, and probably more than that. Those are just the ones that report it. They say there's 5 stages to grief when you lose a child to death. But with parental alienation, there's a model that shows 10 stages. I agree with some of them I don't, but I've compared them to what I've experienced, and I feel like it might be a little bit more realistic than what has been written by the professionals, because they might be the professionals, but they've not personally experienced it. The 5 stages of grief when you mourn the loss of a child is denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. The model of grief for parental alienation is shock and denial, emotions erupt, anger, sickness, panic, guilt, depression and loneliness, re-entry troubles, hope, and finally accepting and affirming reality. I went through and compared the two to my story, and I came up with 6 stages from my personal experience. And before I read those off, I want to preface this with, I am not a licensed therapist, psychologist, psychiatrist, an attorney. I'm none of those things. This is just from personal experience. The 6 stages that I came up with are shock and anger, obsession and desperation for finding answers, depression, self-reflection and claiming responsibility, relationship issues, and finally acceptance. There's a lot that gets packed into each of those stages though, so I'm going to do a video for each of them. But I want to add that everyone's situation is different. Everyone is going to experience parental alienation in their own way. So my stages might be different than the next person's. It might be in a different order, or it might look different in just a completely different way. So this is just from my personal experience. So stay tuned for all those videos coming up in the following days. There's a lot to pack into them, so we're going to get into it. I want to end with, in the beginning of this video, I said what's worse than losing a child to death, and it's losing a child to parental alienation. That is not to say that losing a child to death is not worse than losing a child to alienation. Both are absolutely horrific. It's not one is worse than the other, and that's not what I meant by it, so I don't want to offend anybody, and I wanted to add that in. Losing a child to death, I couldn't imagine.